You mentioned something about Chamber of Commerces. We do have Chamber of Commerces, and then they're very active. They have partnerships with European Chamber of Commerces. There are lots of business delegations that visit other jurisdictions and so on. They're trying to encourage investment, but the politics usually is the key issue. Is that why should I come in investment? That's why you need to begin with states at the state level to support. For example, here in Bethlehem, there is a new industrial zone being established, and there is French funding and support to encourage French businesses and other businesses actually. And there are loan guarantee schemes, and there are. Last week there was a €5 million grant. For any investment that relates to the industrial zone and so on. So there are all kinds of schemes that are donor-funded or donor-supported guarantee or direct investment to encourage investment, because everybody realizes this is the way to get out of this economic situation we're in. And then you mentioned something about the Paris Protocol. I can give you a list of grievances I have against the Paris Protocol. Even as far as yesterday, one Israeli bank decided to levy 26% tax on the profits or on the deposit of Palestinian bank, because they decided to treat the Palestinian bank as a foreign company working in Israel. So they're subject to 26% taxation on revenue. Now it's a legal issue. It is being contested. Where we don't mind if we are considered as a foreign company, because foreign companies in Israel have incentives, but they don't give us the incentives, and then they tax us. And this is all in violation of the Paris Protocol, because we're supposed to be a single market. The way out is to get independence. This is the bottom line, and I think we're getting closer to that. What future relationship with Israel? I think what dictates that is just the nature of business and commerce. We don't mind, business is not political. If you make a profit, then if the business generates profit. The way things are structured now, the profit is to the Israeli side and very little to the Palestinian side. And that structure has to change. It has to be a two-way street rather than a one-way street. And I think things would work then. The market would dictate who does business with who.
First and foremost, because of the wish for independence, you do know, obviously we have a very negative profile worldwide that we need to combat with positive images, engaging people in diaspora and globally to come here, like timeshares for mortgages, when you get to that point, which you're not there right now. First things is solar power. I'm going to ask you if you would imagine, if you will, having the independence of having space-based solar power. You know that usually the payload to send something up is what takes the cost, but now you should know we have photovoltaic, 3-micron thin, very thin film solar cells that can be launched in a stable orbit, an elliptical orbit. You have your satellite, and the end user is the rooftop, so there's no middleman. That's one thing, the technology is here. You also can partner with BioRock, that you know it's also solar, based in water, in the ocean, right here. And with solar power, that creates hydrogen, and the byproduct of this is concrete for your construction. Okay, so that's all with that. You have Al-Quds University gave us a tour. You have nanomolecular studies and viral studies that are trying to produce, they've already got their patents, medicines and things that you can become more independent. There's things on the ground now. So that's just one section. The second thing I want to ask you about is a very aggressive marketing plan to have a product that's based at the youth. It's a youth-based or youth global consumer target because of our friends throughout the world that are concerned, of course, with Palestine and what's happening in Gaza. You might have somebody come and do marketing towards the youth for a whole line of clothing. It's clothing, jeans, t-shirts, a fragrance line for men and women, and it could be something called like well, you don't want to say from Gaza with love. That's going to maybe be a bad connotation, maybe from Palestine with love. Some kind of a marketing strategy to target the youth all over the world, because you do have a very big market using Facebook, Twitter, and the media. Okay, and last but not least, okay, so that's medicinal. Okay, I said mortgage. And then the last is, again, Palestinian Chamber of Commerce. I'm speaking as a former director of membership for one of the largest cities in the world for tourism, Anaheim, California, which has Disney. I was the director of membership there, and encompassed 850 memberships that I was in charge of for retention and every kind of other thing that you could imagine. So I would also ask you to look at how healthy your relationship is. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, solar power is something that I think is being worked, and I heard there was a contract with one California company to develop a solar power plant in Jericho. There is a Japanese project in terms of developing the whole zone in Dead Sea area, which is, as you know, it's very sunny out even on a cloudy day. But so this is a very high potential area. The whole green revolution thing is still coming to us. We haven't got into it. Recycling is still not fully developed. So I think one prior step to that, if you want to go the California way, is to develop something that relates to the recycling. Maybe develop this culture, or all kinds of things that could be done through the various projects. So this is what at least I know about as far as the youth-based target and the projects that you mentioned. I think they're great ideas. Is something for you to.
Just some of these proposals from you, Joanne, and we're going to come up with a project, and this is the project. Anybody have any ideas just to facilitate this? We'll put these together, and it doesn't have to be today. If you want to put it in an email, I'll send you my contacts, and we're just going to have a proposal. This is what we can do. Show us how we can do it here.
My question to you, Dr. Jihad, how do you manage to keep the growth that we are having right now in the Palestinian economy while you have no control over the currency and inflation? The other question is, how relevant, besides symbolism, to have our own currency?
Khalid Hidmi from the Union of Agricultural Work Committees in Palestine, West Bank, and Gaza. And I would like to speak in Arabic, if it's...
That's absolutely okay.
Is it okay?
Absolutely.
في البداية بنرحب فيكم في بلدكم فلسطين، ونتأمل خلال الفترة القصيرة اللي زرتوها خلال عقد المؤتمر إنه تشوفوا الواقع الفلسطيني اللي بنعيشه بفلسطين. وإحنا بنشتغل في القطاع الزراعي، وبتعرفوا القطاع الزراعي هو من أهم القطاعات الاقتصادية وأهم القطاعات المهمة بفلسطين، واللي هو بعني بالنسبة لنا اللي هو يعني الموضوع السياسي ومحور الصراع ما بين الفلسطينيين كشعب فلسطيني وبين الاحتلال الإسرائيلي. وتحدثوا الإخوان عن هذا بشكل بسيط جدا عن الواقع، لكن من خلال زياراتكم الميدانية وراح تشوفوها، راح تشوفوا وتسمعوا، أكيد تابعتوا بشكل كبير يعني مدى تأثير أو سلطات الاحتلال الإسرائيلي والاحتلال على الأراضي الفلسطينية ومصادرها ووضع المزارع الفلسطيني، وخاصة بعد بناء الجدار.
Can you please get to the question?
أوكي. أهم شيء بهمنا بهذا المجال هو عملية التسويق، تسويق المنتجات الزراعية، وخاصة زيادة الإنتاجية بشكل جيد. الشغله الثاني، كيف تتم العلاقه ما بين المنتج الفلسطيني والاخوان والمستثمرين في الخارج. على سبيل المثال احنا بننتج زيت زيتون فلسطيني من اجود انواع الزيوت في العالم، فبالتالي كيف باستطاعتنا من خلال الجاليات الفلسطينية والعربية اللي موجودين بالخارج انه بالفعل يعني يتم عملية تسويق. وشغله ثانيه مهمه جدا كمان، انه مش بس زيت الفلسطين، بعض المنتجات الاخرى. الشغله الثانيه، كيف يتم دعم الفلسطيني المزارع على ارضه من خلال يعني دعمه لمشاريعه الزراعيه من اجل المحافظه على ارضه واستطاعته انه ياخذ الحق تبعه، حقه في الزراعة، حقه في استخدام المياه، حقه في التسويق، وخاصة بعد ما تم مصادرات أراضي كثيرة وبعد بناء الجدار الفصل العنصري وبناء المستوطنات. شكرا.